Okay, hi everyone. My name is Michael, and in short, I am an entrepreneur and an investor for many years, about 25 years above. I was an entrepreneur in very early times, including the dot-com internet times, including like gaming and also including different types of new technology, and also investor as well. I think the other thing that I want to talk about myself is that I love new technology and I'm always curious about new technology. And also from the very old days of playing PC games when I was a teenager, and I tried to make copies of different games and share it with my friends. And at that time, copying games is actually quite difficult to do so because you need to hack the copy protection program and the software. And it was like in the 80s, very long time ago. And even in the university, while I was studying accounting and computer science, I also love other things like outside of school. For example, I would look into cryptology, like how to do a compression of, like a graphic compression, and how to make it into from, nowadays into JPEG or so, and why you can actually save so much space. And it's all about cryptology, and it's actually very interesting to me. And then I think that's the curiosity for new technology is very interesting. And even today, AI and obviously blockchain is also very interesting, and we'll talk about that later. Uh, and at the same time, the third thing I want to talk about myself is I tend to be revolutionary, or like I just want to change things. I think revolutionary is a little bit too big, but I just want to make some changes and see, like a different ways of seeing things. For example, if in the very early time, I look at like McDonald's is very successful in the United States, and then I was thinking why there's no Asian food is successful as a fast food chain, right? And then of course we later on we see things like a Moss Burger, who has a kind of a rice burger, and then I also see like in China there are different kinds of fast food shops, but actually even today it's still very difficult to find Asian food that is as big as like a McDonald's or hamburger. So I think we are still fighting, but it's interesting to see how it fights. And then on the like revolutionary stuff is one of my side projects I had in the 90s is that I built a website called OpenRice. Today is kind of like a mini blog for food critics. So my idea was very simple because at that time, all the food critics are celebrities, famous people like actors or actors who can be food critics. But with internet, I built a platform so that anyone can become a food critics, and then it actually becomes the most popular food finding or restaurant finding website in Hong Kong for the past 26 years, and it's still the most popular right now. And of course, like for NetEase is now the second biggest game publisher in the world. I also is a very early founder in the or employee in the company, and I would say I found the game department, but I'm not the founder of the NetEase. But at that time, all the games, because I'm gamer since the age of like a 6 or 7, and I always understand that making games in Asia is very difficult to make money because people like me, who plays on pirated CDs or pirated floppy disk, right? And but with the change of internet, everything changes because with internet, we are able to avoid any kind of piracy because you have to link your games with the internet to be able to play it. But like 20 years ago, people don't believe that can be changed. People believe that even if internet, people are not willing to pay in Asia, right? And people would only play like a pirated or cheating and so on. But as internet technology becomes more and more mature, so we NetEase, same to a lot of Korean companies, like a Nexon, like a Lineage 1, Lineage 2, and then we found out like there's a way to prevent piracy, like pirated games, and and a lot of game companies make money. And also I can talk about more, there's another game company that I founded, even though that one is not especially successful, but I think the idea is still very interesting, because I was talking to the ex-CEO of Square Enix, and I was talking to him about like, do you think that in like 10 years ago, if there's a market for games for girls, and then in Japan there are a lot of games for young females, like love stories, and then they are very successful, and there is no such game in China at that time, and so but the conclusion is there's a huge market, and the reason is very simple, because for one, that in China the disposable income for women is higher than that of Japan. And second, what is the most important is that the man in China is worse than the man in Japan in terms of making the girl happy. So there should be a huge market. I guess very similar to Korea too. So there should be a huge market for like games to make the girl happy, right? So I think there's a huge market, and we actually proved that correct. But the game wasn't good enough, but the market had actually expanded and exploded like very quite a bit in the past 10 years for like female games. So that's me. In short, is entrepreneurial investor. I love new tech and also try to do something a little bit different. So that's, yeah, sure. So with the background of the things I've talked about just now, I think I can add to it is that for one, I've been a gamer for a very long time, since like 48 years ago, something like that. And I played a lot of games when I was in my secondary school, because of two things. One is that there wasn't that many games at the time in the market, and secondly, because it's so cheap to buy a game during that time. So I can say that I play 90% of the market of games at that time. So every time there's a new game, I go and buy it and then I play it. And so in that time we're talking about games like Ultima. We're talking about games like a very simple, like even text games. And I have learned so much about games. I have learned so much from games. For example, my English is better because I have to play the text game. And if I want to solve the puzzle, I need to find use a dictionary to find the meaning of different words. Right? Those text game is very simple. Like go north, open the chest, and then take some gold. Things like that. Or kill the monsters. Things like that. But I still need to understand the English, right? And then secondly is that going fast forwarding, because I'm a gamer, so I always think that game can actually help you to learn. I think it's actually quite true, because the best environment to learn something is that you are in a fun mode rather than in a too serious mode, right? If you are in the classroom to learn something, I think it's very boring. But if you are in, let's say if you are actually in a bus to learn actually let's say if you are in a car and learn about speed, I think it's much easier to learn about, or much fun to learn about speed, to learn about accelerations, to learn about laws, for example, and speeding, right? Than, in the car, right? So, 120 kilometers per hour is like this. 200 kilometers per hour says this, and the next thing is you might have to face a ticket, right? Something like that. And you can learn a lot of things. So it is for games. I learned about making friends, making alliances in the strategy games, and how to talk to people, how to work together with people. I learned about money, right? I mean, even if you play mahjong, you learn about money. At least you know everything to the power of two, because every step is to the power of two, right? So if you win, you say, 225 for 256 for everyone, right? And so it's actually the 2 to the power of 8, right? So you actually learn a lot of things. So for blockchain and for AI, I also think is very important, and people can learn a lot of things. I don't know for you, but for a lot of people at my age, a lot of things we realize that a lot of things can be learned on the internet from the past 10 years because of YouTube, because of videos and many things, right? But then I think in the next 10, 20 years, because of AI, that is going to expedite even further. And then we can learn a lot of things in a much shorter time, even compared with the likes of YouTube, or even compared to the likes of, what we think already is very, very advanced. But with AI, it's going to be a lot more advanced. We can learn a lot of things in a very, very short time. So I think I want to show is my curiosity of new technology, and also blockchain as well. So that's how I have this shaped me on, I want to try something new, right? And I think I can actually go into maybe like more about Xterio and FunPlus directly based on this, right? FunPlus is actually a very, very famous company for making strategic game. If for gamers who have played the like of Romance of the Three Kingdom from Koei, FunPlus is just like that, but it's on mobile. So it's like as famous as Koei, but it's on mobile, right? And I am a shareholder of FunPlus for about 14 years, but I never worked in that company until like 6 or 7 years later, when after I become a shareholder. And the reason is because I want to expand different genres for that company, for FunPlus. And then I try to build different studios, like role-playing game, or like simulation games, and so on and so forth. And one of the things that I have expanded is actually blockchain games. So we were only started to try in blockchain games at the time. But then I found like blockchain games is very fascinating, and there are a lot of new technology that can actually solve gaming problems in the gaming industry. So I decided that I would spin off from FunPlus, and now we are totally independent from FunPlus. Besides, FunPlus is a very small shareholders in us, but we are very independent, and I am, like the biggest shareholders in this company right now, in Xterio, and so how we use Xterio to go into blockchain and in AI. Yeah. Yes, sure, of course. So I explained how we started Xterio. And then Xterio, I think the two things that we do a lot is that how to utilize the technology of Web3 and AI to be able to provide new experiences to users in the future. And two of the most important problems that we are trying to tackle One is that obviously we talk about the ownership of of the assets that is being played in the game. Even today, if you play a game on Steam, that you think you actually buy the game, but the reality is that Steam lend you the game, or you rent the game from Steam. You never own it. And of course, all the things that you play inside the game, the weapons, the cars, or the characters, never belongs to you. And I think blockchain can help us to solve this ownership problem. At least there is a way we can certify to give a certificate to the user. Okay, this is yours, it's not us, and you can use it anytime, anywhere you wish. But it's not enough, because if the game developers kind of close down the game one day, the things that you own doesn't mean anything. So I think what is important is that in the future, that there's a way that the community should be able to own the code of the games and everything about the game. And the community, since after they own it, if the publisher or the developer decide to close down the games, the community can actually has a way to run the game and also to provide the certificate of each of these weapons and items to the different gamers. So whoever still want to play it, you can still play it. You don't have to wait for the developer to give you a right or a pass or anything, so that they can actually run it. And I think one day we'll be able to achieve that. It's still far away today, but I think it's important to be able to do that. So it's kind of like a open source, but at the same time it's for the community. So that's the ownership part. And the second part is also very important, is that we want to build a system where a lot of the players have like a kind of like a real identity. For example, if you cheat inside the world, if you do something bad inside the world, that you are actually monitored by all other players, and it's the real you, right? So for example, if someone play an FPS game but he actually cheated, right, then we will know about it and the record will be there forever, right? Otherwise, right now, if you cheated inside the game, and if you are a good friend of the developers, maybe your record can be changed, right? But in the blockchain world, it cannot be changed because it's going to be monitored by the whole community. So I think these two things is something where the blockchain will be able to solve in the Web3 world. And it is, I think what is important, I want to also say, is that a lot of the technology actually requires other technology to be more mature, to be able to make sense. I'm sure you have watched Iron Man like a few years ago, right? A lot of the technology that the father of Iron Man wanted to do, but he cannot do it because the general technology is not there or available. It's only until his son, like the Iron Man, be able to do it. And I think for Web3, to some extent, AI is the technology that will be able to help Web3 technology to be more mature in the future. And I can explain that a little bit, but let's stop on this one for this question first, right? Yeah, sure, of course. So for example, I think for Xterio, there are a lot of things that we are doing on AI. I think this is also something that we are different than many other Web3 game companies. We have doing so much in AI, and we have started it very early back, in ChatGPT. I can talk about that later. But for one, I think that is most important is that in the future, a lot of users, a lot of things will be, we're using AI agents, and who is going to tell you which AI agent is real, or who is going to, which AI agent is a scammer, or which AI agent comes is actually a real agent, or have provide like a real service, or play with you together, things like that, and which AI agent is a scammer. And I think blockchain technology is the only technology we'll be able to solve this problem. Without blockchain, I think nobody will know, like maybe when we open up our computer tomorrow, then there's an AI agent that, we can help you to trade your Bitcoin, for example, but it's a scammer, right? And there's no way that you can find out like if it is real or if it's like a legitimate or not. But with blockchain, I think there is a way. And then you can safely ask this AI agent, or you can give it like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 US dollar, and then it can help you to trade, and then you are very sure that it will give you back your money, right? But without blockchain, I don't think there's any way that you can do it. And same for even for games, right? Let me explain more about Xterio on what we are doing on AI first. For AI, I mean, of course, the simplest thing that we do is that we provide different development tools for game developers, because we use these tools for ourselves as well. So, for example, there's a game we call Paleo, which is like a pet collection game, and a lot of the graphics is based on an AI model that we train ourselves. And then we use this AI model, for example, when a user come into the game, they say, I am very happy today and I want a pet to play with me. And we will base on the things that the player says and find out the keywords and use the same art style to generate a pet for the user. And the same art style, I think, is very important. If it is like different art style, it's like a very cliche, like not very special, but it's a very interesting art style that we have developed ourselves, and use this art style to train our engine. So this is one of the tools that we provide. There are many other tools that we are providing. Another one is that we are building an emotional layer, so that the NPCs will have more emotions and will have more different kind of characteristics. Because right now, you can still ask ChatGPT to be more girlish or more manhood or something like that, but it's not very deep. But we are actually building an engine that you can actually design characters to have like a very, very specific personalities. So that's the emotional layer that we are working. And a lot of the events that we have been doing, we try to collect different data from, like a community to provide different kind of data. For example, we're also running an event right now, and a lot of users will have conversations with our robots. And the robot is set in many different stories, and then the users will converse with them a lot of things. And then we use this data to help us to build our emotional layer, so that developers will be able to use this layer to design NPCs with like very, very different kind of personalities. So that's another thing that we're working on. And then extending it to it is that we also use AI to find new gameplays, like new algorithms or new gameplays. In the old days, all these games or the so-called, there has always been AI in games for a long time, but it's kind of like a behavioral tree. So if dinosaurs run into a tree, what will happen, ABC, and then the designer will have to write down what is going to happen in ABC, right? But with AI, it's very different. There will be like infinite possibilities of what is going to happen inside the game. So one game that we are working on is that it's like a battle royale for dinosaurs. And all the dinosaurs go into one single island, like 100 dinosaurs go into one single island. but then there will be like a godlike play that the users will be able to decide what kind of extinction events might happen. Maybe there will be a volcano eruption, maybe there is like a tsunami or something like that. And then these dinosaurs will be based on their personality, and then they have to decide what to do. And then, some might have very smart to think, oh, maybe I will hide under the tree or something like that. But then, like in the old days, if your dinosaurs hide under the tree, there will only be 3 results because it's written by the programmer. But now, if the dinosaurs hide under the tree, there can be like 100 results because it's decided by the AI, right? And so this is kind of a new gameplay that we are designing, and because of the evolvement of AI, and it's a lot more interesting than before. So that's an AI algorithm. And then another thing that we are working on is that also because of this, I think there will be a lot of chance for users to build their content more easily. We have been using this word for a long time, user-generated content, but I think with AI, user-generated content will be a lot more interesting. I think you probably have already heard about, there's a Roblox game designed by a 16-year-old guy, which just a few weeks ago, and it's a very simple game. You kind of there's a small farm, and then you can build like a farm some money or gold coins or something like that, and it has already gotten 16 million DAU in Roblox, and I see a lot of future in UGC, and with the maturity of AI technology, I see there's more and more chances for UGC user-generated content to be more and more interesting because it has lowered the barrier of anyone who wants to make games. And we are all building all these kind of technologies for Xterio and the Xterio ecosystem.